Hey, it's Heather at Adventures in Gardening, and this is my year in review. So I spent the entire morning looking at pictures and videos of this last year, and I have to tell you, we did a lot this year. Now, I didn't share a lot with you guys because the theme of this year was people and projects. So I spent a lot of time with the very special people in my life and doing projects. My husband is like a bull, and when we do projects, we are all in. And we did 3 different rooms in our house that took up just so much time. We did the bathroom, the laundry room, and the sunroom, which we're still working on those things. But the people in my life, the very special people, they took center stage this year. And we welcomed granddaughter number 2 into our lives, and we spent a lot of time with granddaughter number 1, who was my helper throughout the season, and it was a year of firsts. And because of her age, and she's 2, I got to take part in some pretty magical moments, I have to tell you. But little mamas out there, I know I don't need to tell you, but when you open that door to things that you can eat in the garden, you are swinging it open wide. So you gotta be like that, you know, and make sure that you are watching them. Once you've showed them you can eat something, they think you can eat everything, that the world is your buffet. But it was a year of first tastes for strawberries and peas and ground cherries and raspberries, and it was just such a blessing to me to be part of that. But plants will always take up the majority of my time because I am a gardener. It's just that this year, because the people and the projects were coming first, the perfectionist in me didn't get to keep the garden like I like it to, okay? So I did a lot of shorts this year, and so if you go to my YouTube page, you can look at all the shorts, because some of the things I'm going to talk about today you can probably see easier by just viewing them, like my seed starting schedule. My seed starting schedule was spot on, and I will continue to do it just that way. I started in February, so hey, look, it's almost spring, right? To me, it's almost spring. It's time to get going. Now that we're past Christmas and it's almost New Year's Day, it is time to start thinking about our seed starting schedule. So cole crops and peppers. The peppers are going to start inside like I did last year, and the cole crops are going to be out here in the greenhouse. Now, I did this whole thing where I used the radiant heat from the floor, from the stones in the ground, to keep my seedlings warm, and it worked out perfectly. I don't think I used heat until much later in the season, but I had fantastic cole crops, that lettuce and bok choy, all the choys. And here's where that went wrong for me. I did not get them into the ground in March. They should have been in the ground like March 1st. But I ordered these hoop things that didn't come in until later. So this year I'm all set up, I'm all ready for it. But so a lot of my cole crops went to seed, except of course for the lettuces. But you know, it's all a trial and error. One of the biggest blessings in my gardening life is my greenhouse. And at one point, now keep in mind that I do run a small business where I have a plant stand for the month of May here, that I do heirloom tomatoes and peppers and all kinds of fun stuff like that. But at one point in my greenhouse, I had over 1,200 plants in there, and I just kept rotating them in and out. Now, do I keep track of how many went in and out? No, I probably should, but it is a lot. I kind of ran by the seat of my pants for most of this year, so I did not keep good track of what was coming and going. So that is one of my New Year's resolutions, to try to keep better track of how many plants and what kind of plants, because anything with a big seed, I just planted them, I just kept planting them, and I just kept selling them. So in and out, in and out. So as far as the things that I started from seed, I'm going to talk about some of my favorites today, but I'm going to get more in depth in a future video of things that I have grown from seed that I will not do again, that I will do again, that were novelties. But some of my favorites that I grew this year were sensitive fern. Now, sensitive fern was one of the very first plants that I remember as a child. And I grew them from seed this year, and I was able to share them with any child that came, and it's always the same reaction, to see them fold up and to the touch. So that was a fun one. I also grew Plectranthus, the silver shield Plectranthus from seed. And listen, if you like coleus, or Plectranthus is coleus's kissing cousin. But if you like coleus, you got to try this plant. Now, I took cuttings, so I'm not going to start them from seed again. So I've got cuttings in on my windowsill with the coleus. But it was like I put it everywhere. It ended up being like it didn't take center stage, but it made a beautiful backdrop for everything else. The color and the texture. So that was definitely a winner. Anything I put in I take that back. I was just going to say anything I put in my hanging baskets, I started from seed, but I put pansies in my hanging baskets on my front porch. I have 4 hangers that I do every year. The pansy season was a wonderful, fantastic season. I started March 1st. You got to get your pansies in. I'm in Connecticut, Zone 6, by the way. And then in June, I was able to take everything that I started from seed. I did dichondra, irisine, and 2 different kinds of petunias, and I probably will repeat that. I don't know. I have to think about it. It might have been too much petunias in the size pot that I had, but to start all of those from seed, it was like I cannot justify. I'm sorry, I'm very frugal. I cannot justify, $30, $40, $50 more dollars per hanging basket. So starting things from seed made sense, and I thought that they were very pretty this year. All right, I was going to wait for this plane to go over, but I just want to keep going. Other things that I started from seed, spotted bee balm. Now, I've done it before, but I did a lot more this year, and that plant is such a fantastic plant. I mean, the pollinators love it, and it's just beautiful. So planted a lot of that this year. And Chinese forget-me-nots. It was my first year doing those. I got those from Floret. Oh my word. Now, seeds fell everywhere. The seed was as a clingy seed, and I couldn't figure out at first where the things that were clinging to me, the little seeds, like little burrs almost, but the seeds are everywhere. Will they self-sow in place? I don't know, but I will be starting them again, and that was an early start. I think I started those in February as well, if I'm not correct. So the color was gorgeous, and again, it was more of an accent plant. So the bulbs that I planted the fall before, what a payoff. I didn't plant bulbs this year. I have to be honest that I do not plant them every year. I'm counting on them. The tulips, I did the matchstick tulip. They lasted so long into the spring, and the entire garden bed in the front yard actually came together really nice this year. But it was such a gorgeous spring bulb showing, I guess, in the front between the daffodils and the tulips. So the spring garden is always gorgeous here. It's years of planting that have paid off. And between the peonies and the iris, I don't really need anything else in the spring garden. Well, why would I say that? Because I have other places. I have other places that have not been planted yet. So I have other things. I got things I can still plant. But as far as like the back garden and the front garden goes, they are just gorgeous all the time. So one of the projects I did this year that actually doesn't look like much, but we've got this, down the hill, we've got this path because over the last few years we have reworked, this entire path going down to the pond. And there was this clump of daylilies that just the Hemerocallis volva, it's the wild daylily, and it had spread all over the place, and it was right in the middle of the path. And a couple of years I just kept walking through them. Okay, I decided to dig them all up this year and actually do something that had purpose. So let's talk tomatoes. Okay, so I am a tomato girl. I grow them and I sell them. I grow the plants. I I spend a lot of time thinking about them, planting them, observing them, and this year it was the weather that decided the tomato season for us. So as far as tomatoes go, we did not have a lack of tomatoes at all. It's just we got early blight. The blight came in, the weather was wet. I tried to keep up with the leaves and taking them off the plants and cleaning up and trying to keep everything. It was just, it won. The blight won this year for sure. You always learn something though, okay? And there's always something else that is going to just shine as far as, you know, being more productive than anything else. But we have plenty of tomatoes, it's just the plants did not look good through this whole season, and that of course bothered me a little bit. But the winning plant for this year was actually Bonnie Best. Now the cherry tomatoes, Rosella, always a winner, doesn't mind the blight, just keeps producing. Definitely the Rosella cherry. I guess there's a Rosella full-size one that people have let me know about, but the Rosella cherry just does great. But as far as the big size tomatoes go, Bonnie Best, you've got to try that one. It did great. It really did. It was very productive, and it actually seemed to be more disease resistant than others. So I will be selling hopefully a lot more of those this year, having more available for sure, and telling people like, this one's a winner, got to try this one. Okay, couldn't be a gardening year without a case of Lyme disease. Yes, I have talked before about my journey with Lyme and all the treatments, and sure enough, you know, I'm really stubborn, and God knows that. And he's like, I've got to give this girl a bullseye. And so in May, I got the bullseye and I had to go through another treatment. Now listen, I am the crunchiest person that you'll ever meet, but I'll tell you what. You get a tick bite, you got to take it seriously. You want to know more about that? I'd love to tell you more about that, but it is just a weird and wild ride that I've been on for years as far as Lyme goes. But so I spent most of June and July covered head to toe and sweating because I couldn't be out in the sun because, you know, doxycycline. So yeah. I got new dahlias this year. I know, I get dahlias every year, but I got some really beautiful ones this year. I ordered from Flora Farm, and I'll spell it on the screen for you. They very professional, the way that everything was packaged and labeled, and I bought quite a few, but there were two that were standouts, and I will put them on the screen because I'm like, whoa. One of them is Labyrinth, and I've been waiting to buy that one for years. But as far as like things that went really well and didn't need much of me, it was the dahlias. And they started producing in June and went through till I think it was the week before Thanksgiving when we got the really hard killing frost here, or the freeze, and they all turned black. But great dahlia season. And they are all in their winter rest right now. Summers around here are really hard. Usually there's a drought, but this year it was just wet, 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 wet. I mean, we had a couple of flooding episodes down here. As far as the color in the garden goes, we lack color in the summertime, and that's something that I need to work on in the new year. Echinacea definitely carries us through, and daylilies, I started collecting daylilies. I love to collect plants. Collect all the colors and all of the textures. All of my containers this year, they're all throughout the property. They looked great. All my containers. I guess it was the easiest for me to keep neat and maintained, and everything. Can I say everything? That's a mockingbird, and he's mocking me. Are you mocking me? Everything was either a seed or a cutting, okay? All of my shade containers with the coleus and the begonias, they looked great the entire season. It's probably because we had so much rain. The containers on the porch, the pansies lasted almost the entire season. I did a dwarf eggplant in one of the containers. It was just a really easy year to keep your containers looking good, at least for me. So what are we doing in the new year? Okay, so I love resolutions. Resolutions are a decision to go forward, right? You resolve, you decide that you're going to do something. And one of the things that I want to do in this new year is remember who I am. Okay, I think life gets so busy and we just get bogged down with so many different things. details that really are somebody else's details. I need to remember who I am, okay? The things that I did the whole time that my daughter was growing up, I don't do those things anymore between taking care of myself and meal preparing, and I just need to get back on doing all the things that I always did that made me feel accomplished and made me feel really good. An example of that is, you know, by making our own bread. I have always made our own bread, except maybe this last decade, okay? Maybe, but I'm done, okay? It's time to remember who I am and get back on track. But I just want to end with this, okay? So no matter how busy this entire season was, I just have to say that every single day I would stop and appreciate this beautiful place, the very interesting critters that I share this garden with, the workers, the helpers in my garden. I just saw so many wonderful things, so many beautiful sunsets, so many, I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm hoping that I'm putting the videos in here and the pictures in here so that you can see them, because there is something to see every single day if you stop and just watch and observe. Life is an adventure, so let's get out there and do it.